If your accountant only tells you what happened last year, they're not helping you run your business, they're just filing paperwork. Now today's guest is Adam Nurbhai, founder of Enso, and he's built a modern finance business around one idea. USMEs don't need more compliance. You need clarity and you need some control. Adam walked away from a corporate life to build the thing he actually wanted. But you know what? If you don't get your numbers right in your business, you can work yourself into the ground and still end up bust. So today we're going to get into why directors leave employment and what they don't always see coming. The finance habits that separate survivors from casualties, and the mistakes that SMEs are making right now that are causing businesses to fold. And one last thing, we're going to talk about systems that give you visibility, not just accounts. Let's get into it. Adam, welcome to the Director First podcast. We really appreciate you driving down to see us today. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Brilliant. First question for you. In 2018, you sort of made the big jump from working for a big firm to set up Enso, which is your own business. What happened for you to make the leap?
So I left university at 2011, so been training to be an accountant from 2011 all the way to 2018, working for about 3 firms. And to be honest, I never really enjoyed what I did. I didn't necessarily not enjoy being an accountant. The tech excited me. The accountancy moved quite a lot in those 5-10 years in terms of the innovation, and accountancy is a very dinosaur industry, and I feel it didn't move for like 20-30 years up till when I maybe was in the business, and those 10 years it moved massively. So that part excited me. However, I hated being an employee. I hated working for somebody. I hated that 9 to 5, going into an office, sitting in front of a desk, sitting there all day long in front of a computer screen, timed breaks, timed lunches, things like that. Even team meetings, which were most of the time a waste of time. I'm quite a productive person, so I wanted all my time to be of value. And when most of my time was invaluable, when I was, gossiping in the office or having team meetings that were just useless, then it frustrated me. And so my dad's actually got an accountancy firm. I knew how to, in a way, set up a firm and such. And so in 2018, I decided to make my own jump and set up my own firm. And best thing I ever did, because I realised in 2018 I wasn't an accountant, I was a business owner. And that was my journey of being a business owner, and obviously the service I provided, my USP was the accountancy services, but realistically what I was a business owner.
I think that's the difference as well, and it's a really important difference, is because a lot of accountants, CFOs, finance people, they may not have been in the hot seat before, and it's very different, isn't it? Because when it's all on your toes, I find I would class them sort of as entrepreneurial or accountants. You're better positioned to advise your clients. And you was with quite, fairly big firms, wasn't you, before you took the...
Yeah, I was at BDO. That was the biggest firm I worked for. And before that, it was quite a good boutique firm in city centre. So, yeah, they were good-sized firms. I was probably better suited in the smaller firm, where I had a bit more, in a way, value to the firm, whereas in BDO I felt a bit lost there. It was
just another
another number. There's so many employees there, and it was very political there as well. It was hard to level up without doing the arse licking, basically.
Yeah,
I was trying to say
this is a podcast, you can be yourself, yeah?
Yeah, without doing the arse licking, it was really, really difficult to level up. Like, even though you did an amazing job for a client, without, buttering up the managers, it was no way to move up at BDO. So yeah, I struggled with that environment.
I've always found, it's obviously my world, insolvency. And I said to you before we come on record, I come into Manchester probably once a month for a couple of people that I see fairly regularly. And if I go in at like say 9 o'clock, like it's just packed. I'll be in spinning fields, and it's just like all these people rushing around, and I think I'm really grateful that I have a little bit of freedom in my business, you know, and it's not in a big city. And I think you were touching on the point, you know, you're stuck inside a screen all day. That idea of running a business, that's not how you have to do things, is it? You don't have to be stuck in a city centre office. You don't have to be you don't have to wear a suit all day today, do you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think when I started my firm, it was a little bit different to how everyone was doing things. It was a remote firm. I wanted everything to be completely digital. I wanted to run my firm on my mobile phone, not my laptop. Obviously, I know that proper work has to be done on a laptop, but I wanted to be able to do everything from my phone. And yeah, I got a few eyebrows of like my working style and such from friends, family, whatever. I also started my fitness journey, I suppose, from 2019 as well, and that journey was actually working from David Lloyd, which is obviously a big gym, but they've got a great sort of office space and such. And by doing that, I managed to fit in going to the gym in a working day, you know, 10 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. gym workout. And yeah, maybe I'm at the gym 9:30 to 10:30, but I'm doing a load of admin at that time as well. So I've sort of done like a hybrid gym and work style, and it really worked for me. It meant I was doing two things at once. I was answering all my emails and such whilst having a workout, and it transformed my life. I lost like 20-30 kilos by fitting the gym into my working life, and an employee would never allow that. They would never allow me to just be answering emails on the gym floor, especially back in 2018 when working from home and that remote working style didn't exist. And I was able to, in a way, create my own working life, which was the beauty of having your own business. I did things exactly how I wanted, the way I wanted, and I understood how I worked, how I am, and I, in a way, maximised my own potential.
Just give us a comparison. So, like, when you was, tell me the day that you was living, the groundhog day, so to speak, when you was in a big office in the city centre. What did the day look like? Hours of work, etc., etc., and then map over and tell me what happened when you sort of did the working from David Lloyd.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind I didn't have kids before my business, so when I worked for someone I didn't have kids, and now I've got kids, so it's two completely different lives anyway. However, if you take that out of the equation, working at BDO was waking up early to commute into spinning fields. To get into town is a bit of a nightmare anyway. Get there for 9 o'clock, and then probably have the morning gossip with the team, which again, not valuable time, for about half an hour, 1 hour, or someone does a team run and such. And then there's probably a team meeting, which another half an hour, 1 hour wasted. And then you might work for 1 or 2 hours until lunch. You have to have a lunch break, because that's just the way employment life is. You have to have a 1 hour lunch break, even if you didn't even want it. So 1 hour for lunch, where maybe I popped out, got a go falafel, something like that for lunch, came back, and then worked for 3-4 hours. And in those 4 hours working, I might have finished everything in 2 hours, and I was looking for work for 2 hours. It was crazy that I didn't actually have enough work to do, but I still had to sit there until my clock finished. Whereas now,
when would you get home then?
Obviously I'd get home maybe 6:30, 7.
So like the vast majority of the day, I bet you had to leave the house about 8:30 to get into town for 9. So that's a big chunky day.
Yeah.
And go on, tell us about what happened when you made the change. What's a day look like now?
My day now, I'm still probably waking up similar time because I do this school drop off, but that's brilliant.
How old are your kids?
My kids are 7 and 4.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So drop the kids off to school, drive to David Lloyd, get to David Lloyd maybe 8:30, 9, do my hour and a half workout, whilst obviously doing my admin. And then...
So that's like a set with an email, you know, doing your emails after, in between sets.
Yeah, and to be fair, every day is a bit different, but so I've got a choice. I can do what I want, really. So a lot of the times, you know, I get my laptop out at David Lloyd, get through a few Zoom calls, do a bit of work, admin, things like that, talk to my team. So do that up till lunch, maybe have lunch there, but my lunch is 15-minute lunch, half an hour lunch, whatever, however long it takes me to eat actual food, which isn't very long. And then I'm able to finish my work up till maybe 2 or 3. And depending when I finish, my time's mine. Sometimes I go to the driving range and do an hour at the driving range. Sometimes I pop home and do something else at home, do something productive at home. But that's the thing, I've saved so much more time. And then, of course, 3-4 o'clock I go do the pick-up. Half the days maybe my wife does the pickups, but yeah.
That's the good life, though.
That is the good life, yeah.
You know, that's because you must have been on a decent salary when you left BDO. There must have been some fear when you're leaving a big firm, you know, with...
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't on that good of a salary. I think the good thing that I did was actually leave employment at a young age at 28 when you're not on a massive salary. So I left BDO, had a bit of savings, whatever, and obviously I lived off my savings for a little bit, but I managed to make my salary in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you get the work in?
It was just organic. So I had a client already, which is probably why I took the jump. So I had one client when I started, and yeah, it was just organic. It was just using my network that I already had, ringing about, and it just grew. Yeah.
Was you never tempted to go and work with your dad?
No. My dad's a different sort of USP accountancy firm. You know, I mentioned like the tech and all that, and my dad's a bit of an old school accountancy firm, bag full of receipts and all that sort of thing, and his clientele want that as well. You know, his clientele don't want to modify and such, so it would have been very difficult to go work with my dad, work for my dad and modify it.
I mean, it is incredibly disruptive at the moment for certain firms. I'm hearing it a lot with, I mean, listen, it can be problematic in insolvency. You will get a client ringing you who's chat GPT'd the problem and what the solution is. And, you know, there's some dangerous advice out there. And I think it's the same with solicitors, you know. You can chat GPT a legal agreement, but what happens if that legal agreement's not correct? You know, there's no professional indemnity. Because
ChatGPT just, you know, scours the internet, and is it getting the truthful knowledge? Is it just getting, you know, from forums? A lot of it is actually not correct, and I think you need an expert to like check over ChatGPT, right?
What's your favourite AI at the moment, though? This is going to go out in probably February 2026, so.
Obviously, ChatGPT is the core. There's an amazing web browser AI called Perplexity.
Yeah, I've used it.
Yeah, where you can literally just, you know, give it instructions, and you've logged into like whatever, you say your bookkeeping software Xero, and in front of you it's just doing all the bookkeeping. It's not quite there yet, obviously, but it's obviously
saving hours and hours.
Yeah, I wonder if, you know, you can just leave it to the side, it can just do all your work for you. And yeah, I think in a year's time, a few years' time, it literally will be that AI will be doing all that sort of basic sort of processing and such, like really easily.
There are a lot of people though that are frightened to death of AI at the moment, and I really think that's where the big leaps that can be made now, because it's like it is so new You know, I think every business owner should be spending time trying to understand AI, you know, what it can do for you. I mean, aside from what it's doing for you in Zero, what other things can business owners be looking at to sort of win some of their time back?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI can, as an agent, can do whatever you want, really. So if you really got stuck into like what you need in terms of data processing or whatever it is, I'm sure you can get AI to do it for you. And that might be, you know, paying somebody to create like an agent for you or something like that. But I think, unfortunately, if you don't embrace AI, then you're going to fall behind because, let's be honest, I mean, in a few years' time, you might not need an accountant because AI can do it for you. You might not need a solicitor because AI can do it for you. I'm hoping, though, if you get ahead of the game and use AI as your tool, then you'll still be needed. You'll still...
I think there's always got to be some type of... I think you've hit the nail on the head. If you are working at becoming an expert in AI and what it can do for your business, because I think a lot of people still prefer a human touch.
Yeah, I mean, going to the doctors, do you really want an AI doctor? You want a human to tell you exactly how to heal you. I think that the only sad thing about AI, unfortunately, is those juniors right now who aren't actually, you know, learning how to do things properly. They're just asking AI what the answers are. And obviously me and you, we learn everything manual, and it's a bit of a danger that...
Apparently it messes up with your brains. I've read something about it. So your brain function, your brain development.
I think there was an MIT article about AI and brain rot, and I'm not surprised. Like how are juniors learning the trade without actually, you know, understanding what's happening? If they're just, you know, getting the answer from ChatGPT or whatever all the time, how are they actually understanding?
It's going to be a very interesting few years. Sort of back onto the leap into, you know, entrepreneurship. What are the best parts of being, you know, running your own business now?
It's 100%. It's the free time and the flexibility and the in control. I feel like I'm in control of the finances in terms of I'm the one chasing the money from the client. I'm the one who's trying to go out and win work. I'm in control of my own time. I can tell clients that it's going to be done in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be done next month. Like, no one's on your back saying that, you know, deadlines need to be done today, things like that. You're in charge. And there's nothing better than being in charge of your life.
You know, like the time thing, it's interesting you said, so like, yeah, you get a lot more free time. Do you really, I mean, I'll share my experience. Like, I will aim to, I don't know, be finished a bit earlier or something. Me and Jed, the video guy, were talking before about next week having a bit of time off and, you know, for half term. Sometimes I find myself getting dragged. You know, when I've worked, I've done everything, I could go, and I see something else, I go, you know, I think it's been really hard for me to break that 9 to 5 mindset personally.
So this is the negatives of having your own business. The parts that, you know, everyone doesn't see. If you're an employee, 9 to 5, you go home and work's done. It's completely finished.
Forget about it. Put your chair in.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Whereas I'm thinking about things at midnight. I'm actually maybe picking up my laptop at midnight. You know what I mean? If I get, you know, an itch that it's like, oh, I need to get this work done.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was my next follow-up question is, what are the dark sides of owning your own business that no one talks about?
It's 24/7. Like, it is your life. I mean, being an employee, I don't care what anyone says, it's a 9 to 5. But having your own business is a 24/7 thing. And yeah, you can put some controls in there. You can, you know, not answer clients after hours, things like that. But I think all true entrepreneurs are thinking about business 24/7. Like, they have to scratch the itch if there's a problem or if there's something that needs doing.
So I think you've got to be built for it. Because some people cannot. I mean, I've met people who have their own businesses and they literally can switch off at 5 o'clock sort of thing. And I just think to myself, you know, like I'll go on holidays. I'll have at least one holiday a year where I do turn my phone off, normally for about 5 days, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, when I do that, my head speeds up and it really starts a bit more. There's very rare I don't have a day where I'm not thinking about something to do with the business, but it sort of goes into strategic mode as opposed to like firefighting this and that's going on. And
yeah, I mean, funny story. Yeah, I'm similar. I try and, you know, especially, you know, family holiday with the kids, do the same thing, switch off for a week or two, completely turn everything off. So booked Orlando in the summer. And as you imagine, if I'm switching everything off for 2 weeks, I'm going to be mad busy before that 2 weeks, just trying to get everything done, etc. My head is just all over the place. Well, anyway, day of the holiday and such, we ended up missing our flight because I just got it wrong. The original time of our flight was, call it 1 p.m, but they sent me an email sometime in the middle saying that we've moved it forward to 11 a.m. And that is just because of my head was all over the place just preparing for a flight. And again, that's the dark sides of being an entrepreneur, that your head is just scrambled all the time. Luckily, I mean, it was a great holiday in the end. We flew with Virgin Atlantic and they just rearranged it for the next day, so we only lost a day and didn't have to pay anything for it and such. So it was all good in the end, happy ending and such. But yeah, that's the sort of things that happens to me.
I can identify with that.
That's just one of many things that how it affects my personal life, where because have my head so much in my work zone, so just wait for that.
That's the problem with our live shows, right? That coffee machine will go off at the most awful time, but don't worry, our viewers are used to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as much a part of the podcast as I am.
So yeah, that's the dark side of my head, so scrambled in my work life that affects my personal life that I'm just, you know, forgetting
How
things.
do you handle that? Because that's something I really, you know, like sometimes if I'm going home, and I shouldn't do this, it's when I'm having a work call on the 15-minute work home, I pull up into my drive, I stop the call, and I walk into my house, and I really struggle to that transition from work Chris to dad Chris. Yeah. And I'm in there and my head's still spinning about the 15 calls I've had today, and I can struggle with it if I'm honest with you. What's your experience around those things?
I really struggle as well, and my family always call me out on it that I'm not present. Present, and it's something I really want to work on and be present for my kids, for my wife, and it's hard. It's hard, you know. Like I'm literally just in a daze, just thinking about something from work.
Thinking.
And then my wife's just talking to me, and I didn't hear a thing that she said.
Yeah.
Just because I'm just
because
thinking about something
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Have you ever, like, I try and turn the phone off some nights, and just like that can help, but I can struggle with that. I really the honest answer is, it's like, I think you've got to. There are times in your life you've got to be on, like you've got to be, you know. And I quite like what I do as well. You know what I mean? It's not like I hate my job. It's like just sometimes it's fucking too much. You know, it's like.
To be fair, I mean, the iPhone's got a really good feature with the focus modes. So I embrace that. I've got the work mode and I've got personal mode. So my personal mode, I turn off all work notifications. So in terms of turning the phone off, I'm actually quite good with that. And again, I try and tell clients that, you know, out of hours, I'm not going to talk to you, sort of thing. I'll talk to you in the morning, things like that. So I am good like that, but it's still separating your head. Yeah.
What do you do to switch off and sort of get into dad mode? Or even just get away from work mode for a little bit? What are the things that you can...
It's hard to say. It's not really got an answer.
You're rubbish at it as well, then, are you?
Yeah.
Because some people will go and have an ice bath, or they'll go to, you know, they might go to the gym on the hour before they go home. And I'm always interested, like, at what people... I know some people who will just sit on a bench for 15 minutes before they go into the house and just sort of get... Okay. And the idea is great. Like, I've done it once or twice, and I'm just pulled up on the road and gone... You know, some deep breathing.
Yeah.
And then I don't do it again for 3 months. You
maybe
know?
that's a great idea. Maybe I need to do
I
something
might do
like
that tonight, you know.
Yeah, because, yeah, I mean, I'm literally work mode. I'm taking calls in the car, and then my kids are in the car, and then obviously then that once my kids are in the car, work's ended.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've not given myself that time to have a breather, I guess.
we talk about sort of leaving employment for freedom.
Mm.
You know, the freedom of running your own business. But I think the reality is, a lot of us, and I'll include myself in this at times, is we're leaving employment into a prison. Do you know? Like, I was very vocal for the first few years. I did not have a business. I had a fairly well-paid job.
Yeah.
You know, it needed me. So could you sort of talk me through sort of the type of traps that directors fall into when they make that leap?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it depends what kind of business you have. I mean, if you've got say, a restaurant, a place that you need to open the doors at a certain time, close the doors at a certain time, that's a huge amount of responsibility. And it's probably the reason what that's put me off actually having a physical office is having that responsibility of, you know, opening the doors for the staff and things like that. This is the reason why the best thing I've done is having a remote workforce. And yeah, anyone, you know, a lot of people have this vanity dream of having the cafe of their dreams and restaurant of their dreams, but it's hard work, and I'm saying that from experience because I was part of a restaurant.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, so that was back in 2016, 17, and it was very, very stressful.
How did you get into that? Give us the backstory.
It was actually a client of my dad's who needed investment, and so me and my brother went in and yeah, became part of the team.
Where was it?
It's in Denton.
Right.
So it's a restaurant called Sweet Diner.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely restaurant, burgers, shakes, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, with a restaurant, and I think with any restaurant comes a hell of a lot of stress. You know, staffing is probably the biggest stress. Then it's just things going wrong all the time, like electrics going out or kitchen equipment breaking. And then obviously, you know, quiet days and such. You're just thinking, why is it quiet? We were so busy last week and it's so quiet this week. Like, what's changed? Things like that. And then it's the pressure of always trying to innovate, things like that. And that experience alone, well, I'm never going to open a restaurant ever again.
But even like a service-based business, you know, like which is really what we are. You know, what are the sort of pitfalls of people? Someone's watching this, they're making the leap, they're going to go into a service-based business. Where do you think are some of the things they need to perhaps be a bit mindful of? I know one for me was saying yes to every single client. That was the bloody, you know.
I think you mentioned that you're sort of still an employee, and I think when you start a service-based business, you are effectively an employee for your clients. When you start off with, you're not a business owner, you're just servicing your clients. Yeah. And you only turn into a business when, I guess, you've got staff to do the work for you, and then you step away from the business. I mean, I've not fully stepped away from my business. I'm still doing most of the client-facing meetings and such, but obviously I've got staff to do a lot of the other work. And I think that's where the hardest part is trusting other people to do the work for you.
And they never do, you know, I mean, I'm a control freak, absolute. And I think when you are, you know, in our industries, perhaps our business models, it's like a lot of clients want to speak to me, as I'm sure they do with you. But there comes a time where, and I found this really difficult, is to go, I can't get involved in that job because I've got these jobs here that are really, really well paid. I can't be running after that one that pretty much breaks even, and that was really, it was only recently that I actually took that decision. Right, I've got to stop doing it. I've got to stop, because all I'm doing is causing a nuisance to myself, sticking my nose into a case that does not need me. And what I'm doing is really checking on everyone, and
Yeah.
you can do it perfectly fine, you know. But I imagine with you, what are you able to delegate out now? What's your sort of biggest income generating task that you want to be working on?
Funny enough, I mean, I don't actually think I want to work on anything. You know what I mean? In terms of like actual income generating things, I want somebody else to be doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be overlooking it all. Yeah, might need to do checks here and there, but I mean, that's the dream, where I've got, in a way, a self-running business, and then I can go out, maybe buy another accountancy firm and do exactly the same thing, replicate my style and the way we work at another firm, and expand like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, in terms of the services we provide, anything really needs me. I think somebody else can always do that. And I think what you need to do is be able to have like the systems in place, the controls in place, the training in place, that everyone works at a high standard.
Can we get into that bit? Sort of what the service offering of the business, sort of like, what is it you guys are offering? What makes it different to like your maybe standard compliance accounting? Because believe it or not, the people watching this, and they don't really understand the difference.
So I think I'm going to use my dad's firm as an example, and no disrespect to that firm, because he's got a great USP, he's got clients that absolutely love him. But his firm is, say, you know, you go to see him once a year, he does a year-end accounts, and in a way he's quite cheap because you don't see him very much, and then yeah, see you later, I'll see you next year, sort of thing. And a lot of business owners might just want that. They just want to stay legal and make sure accounts and taxes are all filed. What we do differently is, obviously we use the tech out there, Xero and all the sort of add-ons and such, to, you know, automate all your finances and such. And we're always there for you. We have sort of, you know, communication groups, WhatsApp groups and such, that me and my team are always communicating with you. Any questions, we're basically part of your business. We're a business partner. We're always there to help you with to help you with your financial decisions. Depending on what package you want, we'll be presenting reports to you every month. We'll have meetings with you every month, and we use the tech to help us, you know, supercharge the information that we provide for you to help you grow.
And I think one of the things that is quite hard to get across to some business owners is there'll be a big difference in cost to your year-end compliance stuff, might be $2 or $3 grand a year,
Yeah.
to what you're offering, which, you know, you'll have varying different price points. But it's trying to get a client to buy in that what you're offering is really an investment in your business, whereas what your dad's just keeping you out of prison. You know,
Yeah.
it's just keeping you out of legal.
Yeah.
Because obviously in my industry, people go through pre-packs where they'll, you know, for whatever reason, the business has become insolvent and it's got no hope of recovery. Now you have an option in the insolvency laws. You can legally start again. You can buy the assets back, administration, liquidation, okay? Now what I want to know though is, when I'm sort of advising a director through this, is like, well, what's gone wrong? You know, where's the hole? This bucket has some holes in. Where are the holes? Because if we don't get to the point, if we don't fix this issue, you are coming back to me again in 6 to 12 months. And 99% of the time, it's bad financial literacy that leads to bad financial management, that leads to bad financial decisions, that ultimately leads to them picking the phone up to somebody like me.
Yeah, I mean, if you are using an old school accountant and you're trying to stay legal, your numbers are out of date. Your deadline to file things are 9 months after your year end. So you're looking, say if you are filing it pretty much on deadline day, you're looking at your numbers 9 months after your year end. I mean, your business 9 months ago, it's in a way useless knowing those numbers. You need to act now. And what we do is, you know, real-time information and such, and we're constantly giving you numbers, you know, on your month end that just happened, and you can.
Can we just run through a chat like that? So it's someone's come on board with you. What's like a basic kind of offering that you believe every business needs to be having?
So obviously, yeah, we'll put you onto the systems and such so that we can do what we do, and then a week or two after the month end, we can literally go through the numbers, and we're going through the numbers that happened last month. We can see places you spent too much money. We can look at your cash, like why are you losing cash? What's going on? And to be honest, cash is king. That's probably the reason why people come to you, because they've lost the cash.
Yeah.
And you can be reactive. You can react for like what's happened a few weeks ago. You can't react what's happened 9 months ago.
No.
And that is the key. That is how you grow as well. That's how you can make good decisions, by looking at your numbers that happened just a few weeks ago. You don't grow by looking at outdated information.
No, it's too late.
Yeah.
And also, you're not as emotionally attached, are you? Which is helpful, because I know in my business, I think everything I've done's right, and there's a reason for this and there's a reason. But I can get called out on that as bullshit and go, well, no, you said, and that hasn't happened. So what's gone on there? And it's like, it's uncomfortable. It's not nice to have those conversations, but because I think when you're your own business owner, I'm the easiest person to bullshit. You know what I mean? And like sort of justifying and rationalising. How do you? I mean, what I have, I've got peer groups. I have a business coach I've worked with for years. Do you have any sort of accountability for you in your business?
What do you mean, sorry?
Well, like for me, because I own the business, dead easy for me to say, dead easy for me to toss it off if I want to. It's dead easy for me at the start of the year to say, I'm going to do this, and this, and come by February, I've not done anything. So I've found it really helpful to always have that accountability with people. Sort of somebody calling me out, making me accountable, because I just think, it's only my experience. I know I can justify pretty much anything on a bad day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's the thing, I suppose. You have to be your own accountant, don't you? When I call my clients out, brilliant, like I said, I have to call myself out. Funny enough, December last month, I bought a massive whiteboard for my home office, and what I wrote on the whiteboard was just my goals for the year, and then I've also got like a sales sort of pipeline as well, but on the right it's just literally my goals for the year, and I'll review it every month just to see if I've reached those goals in any.
So you're quite good at keeping yourself in check.
Yeah, I do it every month. I do a little review of my own numbers and how the business is going every month, just for my own sanity checks. I think that's part of running your own business, right?
Well, for me and you, but you would not believe how alien that sentence is to a lot of people. I want to see a P&L on the 4th of the month.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on, where are we spending money, just look, is there anything in here that looks out of date, out of place, why is that in there? And then every 3 months go through it and go, where can I save some money here, But I learned that the hard way, Adam. Okay. Like literally, there were a time in my businesses, I go, well, we're making about that, costs are about that, we're sound. No provision for corporation tax, no provision for VAT. Looking at your bank, it's embarrassing, given the industry I'm in, but looking at the bank balance going, we're sound.
Yeah.
And essentially I was running my business blind, and it was, what changed it for me, mate, is, like you, I've got little kids, and I would probably once every 6 weeks or so, I would have a weekend of real internal torture, because I'm thinking, I knew I didn't really have a grip of what were going on. Everything was always a gut feeling, I'm going to be okay. And I had to learn. I thought, I can't waste any more weekends anymore. So, how do I do it? Pipeline, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
What's going to come in, what's likely to come in. I want budgets off every advisor at the start of the month. We're checking them weekly. Profit and loss, balance sheet, you know.
The best thing I did was making sure every single client is on a direct debit, so I'm never chasing money. I did it from day one as well, and I think that obviously let a lot of companies down, where their debt is just sky high, and they've got VAT to pay, but how are they paying the VAT when they've not actually chased all the money that they've invoiced out? And I think that lets a lot of companies down, is just having too much money owed to you, being too nice about...
People are scared to ask for the money, aren't they?
Yeah. And yeah, we use Go Cardless, and it's just, yeah, it keeps the headache. That headache is gone because everything's just getting paid.
Who's the ideal client?
It's a client that's probably maybe 3-4 years in the journey. So they're established and they want to use me, take advantage of me. They want to grow their business. They want to look at the numbers, and they want to grow. I love a client that's, you know, asking me loads of questions and wants to learn more about the numbers and such. In terms of industry, I can't say, because you get those sort of business owners from all sorts of industries. Maybe in terms of marketing, that's where I've been let down, because I've never like niched and such, and everyone says, oh, you need to niche to like maximize the marketing. But unfortunately, like my USP is just, it's a demographic rather than an actual industry. And like I said, yeah, it's that business owner. Maybe the demographic's a bit younger, you know, my age, maybe a bit older. But it's somebody who's an established business owner who wants to grow.
I think that, listen, that's an issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want this person,
Yeah.
you know, and I think, like, if you are, you know, without getting too woo-woo and esoteric, it's like, if you know who your customer are, and that's who your messaging is towards, you will pick up those customers. Like, I understand, listen, our messaging, some people don't like it, you know, that's okay. If you're expecting, you know, a 60-year-old guy with a badly fitted suit spouting the Insolvency Act at you, speaking to you like a naughty schoolboy, you're not going to enjoy the experience with Director First. But if you want someone who's open, honest, got integrity, just will talk to you in a language you understand, great, come on board.
And yeah, I think we're both sort of similar sort of people in that regard. I want to talk to people who, you know, are a bit more casual and such, that they're not expecting, you know, a 60, 70-year-old person in a suit, and even not expecting the corporate big round table, and there's like...
Because there's a cost to all that stuff.
There's
That
also a
spinning
cost.
field office has a
Yeah.
big cost to you, doesn't it?
I mean, it's also intimidating as well. I mean, right, yeah, they're paying BDO or whatever the money, but it's quite intimidating, like 4 older gentlemen just there on a round table probably scaring you about your numbers and such.
Yeah.
You want someone to like talk to you and work together with you, not
What
scare
does it
you.
mean to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, insolvency can be awful. Like, you know, I've seen it before where they're just having the Insolvency Act spouted at them, and the people are talking about prison. Listen, people very rarely go to prison in insolvency, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is designed to, I think, to scare a director. And it's like, oh God, I'll do anything that you say. I mean, sort of moving the conversation down that route, what are the signs that directors should be watching out for that their business is starting to hit the skids?
Like I said, it's cash. It is that cash balance where you're scared every quarter to pay for your VAT bills. You know, like I said, the debtor balance being way too high. I think once you are getting in that place, then you need to look into getting finance and such. Well, to be honest, the best time to get finance is when your cash balance is massive, because you're getting the lowest rates and such. So if you are forward thinking, when you're doing well, go out and get finance now. Don't wait till you're a distressed business to get finance, and just make sure your cash is always in a good place so then you can grow your business. And I get it, obviously, you might get these massive contracts in and such, and you don't want to say no, but unfortunately to pay for those contracts, you have to put in the money first and then get paid after. So if you do want to, you know, without over trading, you need the cash in before you over trade.
When you're sort of thinking about raising finance, I mean, obviously a lot of directors will be out there going, oh, that's a good idea. What's the difference, though, between a real, you know, good debt, if you will, going out there raising finance against reckless borrowing? Because I see a lot of that at the moment, Adam. You know, businesses are in distress. You probably know the lenders I'm talking about that will...
Die rockers and all those sort of thing,
Yeah.
I mean, if you are taking these high interest loans, you need a way to pay it back quickly, and you can't be paying these, 30-40% interest rates for years, and then
with a PG.
Yeah, that'll kill your business. And I get it, time, you need,
You need wages on Friday.
Yeah, so you need the money quick, but you need to be able to make sure a customer's paying you next week so you can pay back that loan straight away. Or you've got maybe a second finance agreement that might take a bit more time because they need to do more due diligence with the lower interest rate. But yeah, don't rely on those high interests because that will kill your business. The interest on those.
I can't tell you how many I have. Like literally 90% probably will have them type of lenders on there, and you just think to yourself, I wonder how many of these loans have defaulted.
Yeah.
And I always say to people, listen, before you get any finance at that stage, it's always going to come with a PG. It's generally coming at a higher interest rate. Are you kicking the can down the road? And it sort of feeds back into what we're talking about is that year-end compliance accountant cannot help you make those decisions.
And look, there's brokers out there who are trying to sell you these high interest loans and such, and you got to watch out for them because the world's just full of sharks, just like trying to, in a way, it's in their interest, not your interest, and yeah, you watch out, and yeah, you might need $500,000 or whatever it is in a few days, but you just got to watch out because that's the thing that probably will kill your business.
I think you did a post about insolvencies, about how many businesses are closing, right?
I did, yeah.
What are you seeing, on the coalface at the moment?
It's really difficult at the moment. It's just a perfect storm at the moment with, minimum wage going higher, cost of living going higher, electric costs. Obviously the VAT at 20% is hard. It's hard to be a business owner right now. It's crazy because, I'll go back to the restaurant business. I go out to eat and everything's so expensive, and obviously because I know the numbers in the background, I'm like, I can't blame them that this is what they actually need to charge customers to break even. And it's crazy that they are, like, Manchester's like turning into London Vices, and they're charging what they are, but they have to. You only need to register VAT once you hit the threshold 80-90 grand, and I think that's also like a bit of a, what's the word? Yeah, it's a nice cushion when you're starting off, but it's a false sense of.
There's a reality check's coming.
Yeah, isn't there? You think, oh, my business is making loads of money, Then once you hit the 90 grand, and you're VAT registered, you're like, oh man, I'm making nothing now. I'm making a loss. It's like I've seen it so many times with new businesses where they've had a great first year and then the second year they just can't afford the VAT.
And I suppose your compliance accountant is not going to have that conversation, are they, about profit margins?
Yeah.
In fact, by the time you sit down with them, it's too late, isn't it? Whereas somebody like yourself, I imagine, took us through I don't know, first meeting or first onboarding with you as a client. What are you talking about? What are the ideas that you're running past the director? What are the questions that you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the basic stuff of like giving them a good, salary and dividend package, that sort of thing. And then in terms of like growing your business, obviously I do give them the warnings of the VAT and the corporation taxes to come. Obviously all these taxes they have to pay, self-assessment tax, dividend tax, corporation tax, VAT, it's always a shock. They don't know that when they actually start the business, and unfortunately a lot of people don't actually get an accountant until a year into their business as well. I'd recommend as soon as you open a business, open a company, go get an accountant and start paying the fees, because you need advice from day one. Don't wait until a year.
It's too late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not even a year. They might even wait 18 months because the deadline is a year and 9 months, isn't it? But it's just too late by then, and it's irresponsible. Like if you want to have a business, then yeah, just pay the accountant. You need to an
A
accountant.
good accountant will save you money.
Yeah, it'll save you money. It'll keep you warned. Yeah, it'll remind you of like you need to save this amount of money in certain times. Like it has to be done, and they think they're saving money, but like you said, that the accountant's saving you money. You're not saving money on the accountancy fees, because end of the day, if you go to an accountant a year or two later, you're going to pay the same amount of fees but backdated.
I think this sort of moves on to a subject we've got to talk about in 2026, and that's HMRC. You know, because I bet you get a lot of people going, you know, what's the magic bullet to not pay tax? And I mean, can we just talk about some tax saving strategies that limited company directors may or may not be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I always recommend having a limited company. The reason for it is the tax flexibility. A question I always ask a director is, how much money do you need in terms of what do you need to live off? Are you living a high-flying lifestyle, or are you living less? And if they're living quite lean, then they don't need to take money out of the business, so then they pay less personal tax. You know, if you've got a sole trading business, so not a limited company, everything you earn is getting taxed at the tax brackets, the 45% tax and such. But as soon as you hit a limited company, you're just paying the corp tax, and then you're paying the tax on your dividend and your payroll. So you can leave the money in the business, and then if you've got, you know, ambitions to invest property or whatever, you can use that company money to invest as a company and effectively pay no tax on those investments. Whereas if you're pulling the money out personally investing, you're paying tax.
Hit twice, aren't you?
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest advice I'd give most businesses, is keep the money in your business, and then it gives you that flexibility of taking the money out when you need it.
Mm-hmm. How have you seen HMRC recently? Do you think they're a little bit harsher? Do you think they're a bit more aggressive, less patient with businesses? What's the experience that you're seeing?
I don't. It's different times really. So in terms of being more aggressive, there was a really dark time with R&D a few years ago.
Yeah.
Where they were just going after as much R&D money as possible, and in my opinion, a lot of it was nonsense.
Yeah.
Like they were denying R&D claims left, right, and centre, and for the silliest reasons, sort of thing. I think they've got a bit better now, but it was clear at that time they were just trying to claw back as much money as possible.
Do you think it was because there was a lot of dodgy R&D companies out there going?
I'm sure there was, but it was just a shame, because I experienced some clients who was 100% R&D, like literally like laboratory work, which were getting their money clawed back, and they had to, you know, go as far as going to a tribunal and stuff, and the amount of headache, money, time that went in to like appeal, and then eventually my client won. But it was clear it was R&D from right at the beginning. Why did they have to go through that whole process? You know what I mean? And luckily that client fought it. How many clients didn't fight?
I had a client who was basically ended up in insolvency because of that reason. They're waiting on a huge R&D claim that had been held up that was pretty much equal to what they owed the revenue, and they issued a petition.
Yeah.
And they literally, if they'd had just held on, it would have levelled itself out. And you just think, who's made that decision? You know, you've lost £500,000 here.
Yeah. I think with VAT, and I've seen them be quite aggressive as well. Corp tax, PAYE, well maybe PAYE, they're quite aggressive as well. The corp tax, they're usually okay. They do a lot of payment plans with corp tax. VAT, they're fairly aggressive. Again, you can talk to them, but
I think that's the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
They're so scared of HMRC, they don't realise you can pick the phone up.
Yeah, obviously HMRC don't want you to fold and lose their money, do they? Yeah, so yeah, you can always negotiate a payment plan with them, but there's only so many payment plans you can do, because if you owe money from the last 2 or 3 quarters, they're not going to do another payment.
You've got to
plan
be
for this
credible,
quarter.
yeah. You've got to be. The more compliant you are, the better deals that you're going to get.
Yeah.
Adam, I'm conscious of time. It's been a really good conversation. I've enjoyed you coming over. For people that want to find out more about you and your business, can you give us a bit of a shout out now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got an Instagram page, TikTok, we've got a website as well, www.meetenso.co.uk. Our Instagram handle is meetenso, so we do vlog posts every sort of week or so. Just if you would like a bit more information on, you know, the accountancy world, some tax tips, things like that, just give me a follow. I suppose in terms of my services, if you liked what you heard today in terms of having an accountant that will really partner up with you and help you, then give me a shout.
And in the show notes, we'll have links to make it really easy for people to get in touch with you. Adam, once again, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, mate.
Brilliant.
Cheers.
Thank you.